All right, everybody, welcome back to the question and answer Ask Us Anything Extravaganza with Ricky, with Zach. This is part 2. Part 1 was amazing. We're moving into part 2. We still got Ricky here. He's feeling better. We still got Zach here. He's firing off the questions, giving off all the good answers. So we're going to jump right back into it.
Well, Rick, before we get to the show, we got to take a minute and thank all of our sponsors because we wouldn't be here without them. This show is brought to you by Krieghoff.
Yes, Krieghoff. I've shot one since about 2006. Best gun out there. Balance, customer service, the people at Krieghoff, top notch.
Everything you need to know about a good shotgun, that's for sure.
Yes.
We got to thank Wenig Stockworks, custom gun stocks in Lincoln, Missouri. Nice hat, Ricky.
Yeah, I love my Wenig. I broke hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hundreds with my Wenig stock. But in all seriousness, get a hold of Bobby, Luke, or Bill. Get yourself a stock made. It'll change your shooting.
I want to say thank you to Remington. They've supported the show since day one, and they've supported me for a very long time. Made All-America teams shooting Nitros and STSs for many years. And we also got to thank Game Masters. If you're looking for a gun, Ricky, you can help them out.
Yep, get a hold of me at Game Masters 2. Call me, text me, email me, send a smoke signal. I can get you any gun out there. We carry about every brand available in the trap, skeet, sporting clays, even carry some hunting guns, some hunting rifles, whatever you need. I'm
going to have to try that smoke signal. I haven't communicated with you that way yet, but that sounds like fun.
You like that?
So for the next sponsor, Shot Tracker, we just seen them at Vegas at the SHOT Show, and they gave us some great insight on the product.
Yep, it's like having a coach on the end of your barrel. They got some new updates coming out that'll really change the game with the Shot Tracker, make it a little easier to set up. So get a hold of them, get yourself a Shot Tracker, and it'll help you.
Want to thank you to Shotguns West, Ryan Castani, for being our Pillas sponsor. Where do you get your Pillas from? They're doing a great job. They've got the new frames out. They're sleek, they're modern, and they look fantastic. Also, really excited about this year's new sponsor, Outlaw Engineering.
Yeah, Outlaw Engineering. It's owned by Randy Freston II, R2. I've known him and his family for years. His dad's past president of the ATA. He does a lot of engineering in the oil field business. So get a hold of him for all his engineering needs you got, and he can hook you up.
Big thank you to White Flyer, making a great target and a great product. We've been smoking those all over the country, right, Ricky?
Yeah, they came out with a new Eco Flyer this year. So hopefully we can get to shoot them at some shoots. I know we did a lot of testing on them, and they are an awesome target. So a little alternative to the pitch target. So
looking forward to trying that out. Another thing that I'm looking forward to seeing more of is SOS Clays.
Yeah, the SOS Clays software owned by Greg Pink, doing an awesome job. He's taken over the trap shooting world with his software. It's top notch. You know, get a hold of him for any needs you have in the shotgun world.
And last but not least, we got gun and trophy insurance. Rick, you got to tell me about that.
Yeah, you can get a hold of Cole or Larry Cushman, family-owned business, and they take care of all my needs on gun insurance. They also offer trophy insurance for all your wildlife trophies to insure them too, but top-notch. Get a hold of them, and they can hook you up. Literally, it's simple. Get online, gunandtrophy.com. You can get a policy going in, I think, less than about 10 minutes. Very reasonably priced.
That's awesome. Thank you to all the sponsors. And with that being said, let's get on to the show. With that being said, Trap Talk listeners, if you love everything about Trap Talk, please subscribe to our page. Also, throw some likes on the videos that you enjoy. It really means the world to us.
Yeah, comment on each episode. We read them. We respond to them. With that, let's get to the show.
Welcome to Season 2 of Trap Talk.
Brought to you by Krieghoff.
This question is coming in from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And as in part 1, I still can't read out loud, so let's do our best here. Hi, Zach and Ricky. I'm an old person, and I started shooting trap a few years back. I achieved welcome to the sport. I achieved the Handicap City Championship in 2022. Great. Good for you. Awesome. Congrats. Yeah, very good. My question is for basically point of impact: 40-60, 30-70, 20-80, 1090 or 100% high, the time I pull the trigger, what is my point of impact? I don't know how to explain it. For example, if my gun is 30-70, I guess we're getting it backwards because it's Canada. It should be 70-30, but we're going to let it slide. We're going to let it slide.
I would have understood if it was Mexico, but that's north of us. So, I mean, they flip-flopped it the wrong way.
Yeah. All right. 30-70. I have to go over the bird and press the trigger. If 100% high, my bird is over the bead. If you guys could explain this, that'd be really helpful. And we help all new shooters who are using hunting, sporting, and trap guns appreciate it. Nadeem from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. All right, Nadeem, we're going to do our best here. I think we're talking about sight picture and point of impact.
Really? If Nadeem could let us know what gun he's shooting.
Okay. All right.
What did he say that when he shoots to break it, he's got to be over the target?
I think what he's saying is he's trying to understand how that point of impact relates to what he should see. So, for example, I don't know how to explain, for example, if my gun is 30-70, I have to go over the bird and press the trigger. Well, let me just say this, Nadeem. If your gun is 30-70, we need you to adjust it because 30-70 is definitely going to be rough.
First things first, he's saying 30-70, but I mean, is he meaning 30% of his pellets are below and 70% are above, and he's just saying it backwards? I mean, I would think that's what he's saying.
We hope. Yeah, we hope. Yeah.
But if he is truly shooting a field gun, like I've met some people, I've gone out with some lessons at the Gateway Gun Club and had some people come out with some really, nostalgic field guns that are shooting extremely flat. I mean, literally the pellets are below the point of aim. Almost all the pellets are below. And in that situation, the advice, look at the target and break the target, didn't necessarily work when I was instructing that person. I almost had to tell him, hey, look at that target and then drive that barrel all the way to the 12 o'clock edge and squeeze the trigger. And when you get through the bird all the way, shoot it and it'll break. And in that scenario, they were able to finally hit targets. That's not the way you should or want to shoot trap. I mean, am I right, Rick? I mean, you don't want to train yourself to have to drive through birds all the way.
30-70 sounds pretty rough. Yeah, 30-70 sounds pretty rough.
If that's okay, I would really like it, to be able to answer this question fully, Nadeem. We need to reach. Do you have Nadeem's email, John, or way to contact?
Nadeem is going to watch this and he's going to send us a follow up here. He's going to tell us what gun he shoot. Yeah,
we need to follow up on what kind of gun you're shooting, and then we can fully answer the question. Because it could be the gun. I mean, and give us a little more information on, are you shooting literally going over it and then pulling the trigger to break it? Because if that's the case, I think we got a gun issue. And I got
so I think
I do know the some gun dealers in Canada that can hook you up. So
yeah, I mean, ideally, I would say it's never a good rule of thumb to lose sight of the bird, and you've got to figure out how to get the gun in a position to where, like, as I'm shooting a target, as Ricky's shooting a target, I've asked him, Rick, what do you see? And he says, I just point right at it, and I keep pointing right at it. I mean,
the target.
So, it's a constant, like, right on it and shoot type of thing.
Yeah.
And if the gun isn't able to get to a point where it breaks that bird, well, then you probably got a gun that's a little too flat.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I think if we're reading Nadeem's question here, I think he is just putting it backwards, because he does say, if I have 100% high pattern, the bird should be over the bead. So I think he's understanding that part of the concept. And, when we talk about 80-20, 70-30, we're saying 70% of your pattern or 80% of your pattern above the bead, the rest below, right? That's more in line with how Ricky is talking about his point of impact. What you see as far as the bead-bird relationship is a little subjective, because some people just say, I just see the bird.
That's right.
And the muscle memory is kind of doing the math for you. So,
follow up with us,
Nadeem. Give us some more
if
info
you're really
here.
looking for that measurement spot and saying, what do you see? then you're probably looking at the bead and the gun too much. Because honestly, I don't see like, hey, I'm at exactly 6 o'clock on the rock and I pull the trigger. Like, you're looking at that bird, you're coming in, you're feeling that shot, and you're shooting. And if you're like saying, I exactly was at 4 o'clock or exactly was at 3 o'clock or whatever you think, well, then that tells me you're looking way, 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 way too much at the gun.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. All right. I will keep an eye out, Nadim, for your follow-up. Send us some more information. We'll get you some more information back from the guys here. Okay, moving on.
Hello, Trap Talk listeners. Today's episode is brought to you by Wenig Custom Gun Stocks.
That being said, a custom gun stock is going to elevate your game to get the same fit every single time.
And I can attest to that. I broke hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hundreds with my Wenig Custom Gun Stock.
I haven't broke hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, Rick, but I did break 100 from the 27 within 7 days of getting my stock and broke 2 more that year and loved it.
Here, this is
Okay. You would take it or me?
We'd like to thank Wenig Custom Gun Stocks for supporting Trap Talk.
That being said, everyone knows.
Winners shoot Wenig.
Are we doing the end work?
Hi, Ricky and Zach. First off, thank you for doing the podcast. Very nice.
You're
Thank you. It's enjoyable to think about trap shooting besides when I'm at the shoots. My question is on behalf of my state association. I am a young guy going through the rotation of officers and want to help grow our state shoot. What are some effective strategies for growing the size of our state shoot, especially on the East Coast when there are a lot of other clubs throwing? We have a very good trophy package. How could we market ourselves to get more event sponsors at our state shoot? Thank you, Nick Hughes.
I think this is a John question.
What state?
I promise this question is not from me.
I mean, it should be directed. It should be directed to you, John. I mean, because you've done such a good job of promoting Nevada, and I know you're on the board, and you've done a great job of. I mean, didn't you double that shoot?
Zach.
We did.
Let John speak. Shut up.
No, these are good questions.
Where are they
Ricky,
from,
to answer
John?
your question, Nick is from Maryland, so he's up in the Maryland area.
Maryland State.
He says,
well,
yeah, so he says, I'm from Maryland. We normally shoot against Ohio, which limits us, but even trying to target a demographic that won't travel 8 hours to go to Ohio and will come closer. So he's, trying to see how he can target that. So Nick, here's the thing. People have to know about your shoot. You have to remind them about the shoot. You have to constantly tell them all the great reasons why they should come to your shoot. And I will just tell you at a very high level, repetition is everything. And one of the ways we did double the attendance at the Nevada State Shoot was to keep constantly reminding them how much of a great time that they were going to have, all the great trophies that they could win, and also, that it was happening in October. So just keep reminding them. You'll do fine.
Well,
and then hit me up by email. I can give you some more information too if you want.
I will
What do you
say
think, Rick?
this is, so I'm looking at the dates. Our buddy Dave Graham put everything in order,
Right.
dates for shoots, which is
Thank
awesome.
you for that, Dave.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
Dave.
thanks, Dave.
Really appreciate it. It's this year. You have Minnesota, Nebraska, and Maryland from the 25th to the 30th for Minnesota, the 26th to the 30th for Nebraska and Maryland. That's in June. And then you have California, New York, and the Canadian Championships, which are held in Vancouver. So that's a ways away. The only one that's going to compete against you this year in Maryland would be, honestly, the New York State Shoot. So
that's good. Yeah.
as you can ask John, I came to Nevada State Shoot for the first time to shoot at Clark County, and it was one of the best state shoots I've ever been to. How it was ran, targets, everything. And I'm not just saying that because John's my buddy and student and partner in this podcast. Greg Pink, president of the NSTA, John, everybody that was there had a part in it. Now, John, and I will say this, to pat John on the back, all the little videos John put out and doing all that and, broadcasting the trophy package, those Molly belt buckles, I mean, they're in the office now in my little case. I mean, those were sweet buckles that they had done. Even doing the 200 straight buckle, I mean, that's a cool thing. So if you offer stuff like that, and the extra stuff, we had the poker tournament, twice, which was fun. We had meals
Every night.
We had, the free drinks. All those little things count and will help promote. And even if it's not every night, maybe try to get together and do a dinner that's just to support the shooters, just an appreciation dinner for everybody that attended. Do it on a Friday or Saturday night. That way you'll get a majority of the people. I know it's going to cost a little bit, but you'll get that back tenfolds.
And he also
I like the camaraderie of the appreciation dinners. I think they can be done well, and I think if you don't have as much money, I've seen associations do like a potluck type of thing where everybody chips in. I've seen it's just something where people can spend time together. I think going back to John's point though, you have to advertise it. Because you can have all the greatest things. You can have the greatest trophies, the greatest food, the greatest attendance, all this great stuff. But if nobody knows what you're doing, well, then they're not going to come. So I think just, you don't want to put the horse, behind the carriage. You want to flip it around, make sure the people know what's going on, and then they'll show up for you.
Well, look what we did last year. I mean, we did Nevada State Shoot on the podcast, and we did Utah State Shoot. And according to Chris Kinder, we did that advertisement for Utah, and he said they got like 40 or 50 more shooters that came.
It helps. Yeah,
it does.
It does help. Yeah.
I mean, it's surprising to me that in trap shooting, and I'm thinking this is changing, and we are changing this every day. But it's like one of those businesses where every other business markets and promotes, and like not trap shooting, like just we're just going to throw a shoot and we'll hope people show up. And you wouldn't run any other business that way.
No.
So
if you want to,
and
give John a holler, and we can help promote.
Yeah, I'll help you out, Nick. But here's the other thing. Nick is talking about sponsors, and I'll just give you, just again from personal experience. Yes, your state organization has to raise money if you want to do some of these things, but just look at it as the investment of you're going to do these extra things for the shooters, which gives you more things to talk about, which gives you more reasons to get out there and advertise and get the word out about the shoot. So those sponsors but really the main thing with sponsors, before I came to Nevada, not having any sponsors, no one was asking. You just got to go ask.
All they can do is
really, it's just, it's time. It's, all the boards are volunteers, and we've talked about that a lot, but it's just time. You need to get out there and do it. And I'll say this, you may not see the big result in 1 year, but the next year you will too, because the word will just kind of spiral out to everybody. So, Nick, good luck out there. Ask us.
We see some of our biggest contributors at MTA, not from the companies, but just from individuals that really love trap, that see that we're doing good things because they love the sport. Maybe they're retired. Maybe they have money that isn't going to go to anywhere someday, and they're like, what? I love our trap shooting sport. I love the dinner they're doing, and I can support that, or I can give a trophy, or I can give a scholarship, or I can give something. And so don't ever overlook that, because that's a big part of the game.
Yeah, It doesn't have to be the big local construction company. It doesn't have to be, this big business. It really, we had a ton of support from the local shooters and that just wanted to contribute. And really, just think about it. 10 people out of 100 makes 1,000, right? So you can get small donations and put on a dinner, and so there's a lot of ways you can be creative there. Okay, so Nick, thank you for the question. Good luck out there. We hope the state shoot goes really well. Keep us informed. Let us help you promote it. Tell us all the cool stuff that you're doing.
Hello, Trap Talk listeners. Zach Nannini here, and I'd like to thank our show sponsor, Remington. And today, I would like to go into what shells I use when I'm training and when I'm shooting tournaments. First of all, we start with the Gun Club. This is a great shell. I shoot an 11.45 ounce and 1/8, and this is what I shoot for singles and both shots of doubles. The only reason I don't shoot this in tournaments is because I like a little bit of a harder shot, a little bit of a harder break, but it works great, and it's the same speed as this STS shell. So this STS shell, a little bit harder shot, figure 8 wad column, smokes the targets a little bit harder. Also, I shoot for singles and doubles, both shots. And then when I go to the back fence and I want to put the smoke on them, I bring out the Nitro 27 ounce and 1/8, 7.5. It's a 1235 shell, blasts the targets, works really well. I hope these shells work for you, and I want to thank Remington for supporting Trap Talk.
All right, guys, we're rolling along here on the Ask Us Anything Extravaganza listener questions. Next one's coming in from Roland. It says, my name is Roland. Was wondering if you guys could talk to me about flying with your trap gun and how that works. I've never done it before, and I'm just, I'm curious about how you travel across the country with your guns to these big shoots. Coming in from Roland. You guys want to give him the high level here on traveling with your guns?
Roland, if you travel with Zach, he usually takes his private jet. No, I'm just kidding.
Zach's never checked a gun in his life.
Yeah, no. So
gun couriers is the secret. Drivers, mules.
I have traveled probably, I'm going to guess, around 100 flights at least with a fire.
Oh, man, I was going to say like 500, Rick.
I used to drive a lot everywhere because I was hauling shells a lot of places until I had the mules,
Well, then I've probably flown more than you when I did all those years being in California traveling around.
Nah, I mean, I'm just saying. So yeah, honestly, I couldn't tell you. I mean, it has probably been a ton, but I've always traveled with an airline-approved case, and that was years ago. Was an Americase because they were built strong, tough. I used an Americase. Now I fly with a Tough Pack, and that's an octagon case that inside I've got foam at the bottom. I put my gun in a Briley gun sleeve that fits both barrels, receiver, stock. I got an extra receiver in there, all my stuff. I put my shoes in there. I put my rain gear. I put my shooting bag, which is just a Cabela's fold-up camo bag that I like to use, and whatever else I want to stick in there. So it's pretty simple. The number one rule, if you're going to fly with ammunition, which you can fly with ammunition like I can in my Tough Pack, you have to have it. It can be 11 pounds or less, which is about 4 boxes of 12-gauge shells. It has to be in the manufacturer's box. Don't fly with extra shells. The Homeland Security,
the TSA, and
TSA folks don't like to see an extra shell sitting there.
No.
I've done it all. I mean, I've been stopped before because I, didn't get much sleep and forgot I had this. I always check, like, my backpacks I take as a carry-on. I always go through them and make sure, because I'm like, I didn't have a pistol in there, did I? Taking it, so.
Ricky's on a no-fly list.
No, I'm good. I'm pre-check, clear, whatever. I got them all. But I would say is get a good case. You can fly with your Negrini cases. About any case out there that you like, but make sure you go to the airport. Got locks for it. Number one, but always declare it. That's your number one thing.
You have to, yeah. And I mean, so I fly. I know Ricky doesn't because he likes to pick his seats, but I fly a lot of Southwest. And like when I'm flying Southwest, I've never, ever one time had a problem getting my gun to where it's going. But the big secret is if you normally go to the airport an hour early, go to the airport 2 hours early because you're going to need ample time for them to check the gun. You're going to have to go through the full service. You can't do curbside check-in. You got to go all the way to the front of the line. You've got to make sure I don't even deal with ammunition because even though Ricky is right on the rules, every once in a while you'll get some hard ass that says you can't have ammo and then you're yelling back and forth with the guy. I don't ever bring ammo. I just make sure there's no ammo in the case. There's no empty holes. I use an Americase which has standard keys and a tumbler lock on it. That way I don't have to deal with locks. But I've traveled with some people. I'm not going to mention names on the show, but I traveled with somebody sometime that had a case that you had to put locks on and only brought one lock. A little bit of a problem. You got to have at least two locks.
Who was that?
At least two locks is all I'm going to say.
Who was it?
I was able to sweet talk TSA into giving us a free lock, but two locks, okay? So you got to have that. If it's under 50 pounds, you're not going to get charged. If it's over 50 pounds, guess what? You're going to have to pay an overage, right? So little things like that. And then when you're picking it up on the other end, 9 out of 10 airports, or 90% of the time, it's going to get brought out to you and you're going to have to show your ID. But I want to tell you this so you're aware of it, so you're not waiting around and it's a bad deal. There are some airports where they don't have it set up right and the damn thing comes flying out on the belt, okay? So be aware that it can come flying out on the belt, and don't just stand over by the baggage pickup area. Like, have a little common sense and say, hey, they could probably mess up, because they've messed up a lot. And my number one travel with a gun tip of the day is buy yourself an Apple AirTag and put it in the freaking gun case and sync it to your phone, because then you're going to know if your gun made it on the plane, and you're not going to land in another city and worry about where your gun is. And when I have had my gun not make the layover flight, I mean, it wasn't lost, but it just didn't make it on that other flight. I said, oh, crap, it's still in Dallas. I called them instantaneously and said, hey, my gun's still there. And they said, yeah, it's coming on the next flight. We'll have it there in 2 hours. No problem. But that Apple tag works well. I gave one to Rich Bullard. He puts it in his gun case, and he's like, I love it because I get to look and see if the gun's on the same plane with me. And
you remember last year, Zach, this time we were in Dubai, and folks, so when you go out of the country, a lot of places you can't touch your gun. You get it at the airport. You go to like Dubai, we go to the police. They look through everything. They keep the gun. We had all our paperwork. They kept the gun. And then the next day they were going to have it at the range. And Zach was freaking out. He's like, what? So he's kept looking at the AirTag deal, and he's like, it's still in Dubai. It's still in Dubai. We're 2 hours from Jara. And it's so funny. I wake up that morning and I look over and Zach's on his phone. Like, what are you doing? Our gun's still in Fujairah. And I'm like, it'll be fine. I looked like 30 minutes later. It's moving along down the highway. I said, see?
It was. But, like, what was crazy about that, it was like 5 o'clock in the morning, the day of the shoot, and the guns were still at the airport. And I'm like, Ricky, we need our guns. but they brought them. But that was the cool thing of the Apple tag. If you're paranoid, though, and you're going to be looking at it all the time, it could cause some extra stress. So just know.
Yeah, exactly.
But you'd rather know than not know, right? I mean,
I'd rather know than not know. That's my personal thing. And if somebody does grab the damn thing, well, then you kind of know, because there's been some people that have had their guns stolen, and if you had an Apple tag in your case, that's going to give you an opportunity to at least get there in a minute and kind of figure that out, because most people aren't going to know they stole a gun with an Apple tag in it, right? So that's my shameless plug to Apple. If anybody knows anybody up there at the executive team and they want to send some money my way, please do. We need show sponsors. If we got Apple on, I think we'd be traveling a little bit more.
We wouldn't have to worry about checking them guns.
I've looked at their balance sheet. They have a little bit extra cash flow.
A little bit. Okay. Thank you, guys. That was some great information. I think a lot of people don't know how that works, so that's very helpful. All right, we're moving on.
In 2023 here, we have done 37 state shoots, 7 of the 11 satellite grants. And
we're almost there.
So most of them.
We now have, I think it's 242 clubs across the country using our system.
If a club was wanting to use you, do you have like a base entry-level pricing or packages that you advertise, or is it based on the size of the shoots, Greg?
Our base level price is $0. Our complete package system, the whole enchilada, is $0.
$0 is a good price.
It's a good price.
The premium members do not pay a pre-squad fee, ever.
For all year.
All year.
Can I buy a lifetime membership?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Gotta be your first lifetime membership.
Is there a 5
I want
year?
to be number one. Zach,
We want lifetime memberships for me and Ricky.
So it says, I have a question I'd like to hear Zach and Ricky address. You've come to the right place. That's why we're here. Good job.
Yeah,
all right,
this
this question
he said Zach first. That makes me feel special.
Yeah, it does happen. Okay, so coming in from Quinn. Quinn says, I shoot relatively decent scores in the daylight, but my scores drop significantly, somewhere around 15 to 20% when I shoot at night. Everything feels the same with the mount, the movement. I've just been assuming that maybe lack of depth perception under the lights or something gray matter between my ears. I've been missing more birds. Are there any issues at play, and what recommendations would you have for shooters performing poorly under the lights? I'm thinking nightly league up at the club, but I'm also thinking the big show at night at the Grand. I mean, you're shooting under those lights. Ricky, I think, this is a good question.
So go ahead, Zach.
He did. I apologize. Zach, please, could you
What
take
are
us
Zach's
down this road?
I'm glad that this was sent to me first to be addressed, because when I started shooting, I started under the lights. My first targets were under the lights, and I shot for the whole first year almost under the lights. What I've noticed about under the light shooting is there's a lot more visibility on your bead, okay, because that light's behind you and it's shining on your bead, and there's not as much visibility out there on that target, and what ends up happening is you can start seeing some streaks. So what people end up doing is their eyes come back to the barrel and they're just throwing the gun a little bit faster and a little bit heavier on the target. So I've always heard from Ricky and other great shooters, and what's helped me, hold still a little bit longer and make sure you really see that target well before you make a move on it, and try to push your eyes out past the bead even more than you do during the day, because the tendency is going to be to look back at that glowing white bead. That's all I've got. You try that, it should work.
That's it. You
It
done?
could be even worse. It could be
I
even
wanted to
worse
go
if you have
quickly because I don't get to go first much. So the fact that I got to go first, I'm going to just be fast and just be happy. So that's me.
the pressure was on. The lead off pressure was on. He was squad leading that one.
I have shot a lot of targets at night. Been fortunate.
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds at night.
And hundreds and hundreds.
Years ago, shooting in Vandalia, a lot of shoot-offs under the lights. One quick little tip, okay, is always look at the top of the target. Never look at the back of the target on a night target. If you do that, you will see the streak. So you always want to get out. That's why I always teach, look at the front edge, the top. Straightaways the top. That way you're seeing a whole target and you can move. And yeah, you don't have, it's all black. So you want to really, that's when you got to take that extra little bit and focus. Now, the one thing Zach didn't discuss is, have you had your eyes checked? If you're struggling at night, that's when it really plays in. That's when I really found out that, man, something's wrong. The lighting, I'm like, and then I went and got checked, sure enough. So, do you wear a prescription? Do you not? Are you wearing contacts? Are you wearing lenses? That all can play into it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Hey,
Rick, when you say
your eyes don't work as well, they're not going to see a target at night, right? Like
Ding, ding, ding.
They take in light and focus better. So,
what was that,
so
John?
if you're having trouble with like your night driving, that's another signal maybe that that could be affecting your night shooting. But when you say top of target, do you just mean on the straightaway, or do you or do you mean on all the?
I'm looking up at the front edge, which is the top.
Yeah, okay.
That's going away.
Okay.
If you're looking here, you're going to see that streak in there.
the tail.
Yeah. Okay.
The
Got
tail,
the tail on the lights. Right. Okay. Great. Well, hey, Quinn, thank you for that question. That was a great question. Zach appreciates you letting him go first. Now, Zach, I don't want to make you nervous here, but Tyler's got a question, and he says, "Hey, Zach and Ricky." So again, you're in the first spot. What changes?
Like that. Keep it coming that way, folks.
Tyler, Zach likes it already. What changes with your eyes do you have between singles and handicap? Higher or lower above the bead, assuming your eyes are staying above the rib? Focused farther out into the background or closer on the trap house? Any difference with your eyes from singles to handicap? Tyler B., Zach and Ricky.
Yeah, so for me, and I'll speak to myself, at the 16-yard line, I'm looking through the beads, maybe a little bit above the beads, and then out to where the target is going to be leaving. So that front lip of that house at 16 yards. So I'm kind of looking wide and soft for that bird at that distance. When I'm moving back to the 27, I'm looking in the same spot, but my eyes are physically straining harder because it's got 11 more yards to look. So like I'm more focused, like the feeling in the back of my eyeballs is more strained from the 27 than it is on the 16, but I'm still looking at the same exact spot. I want to be right at the front of that trap house, right at the lip where that target leaves. I would say if we're talking like a distance above, since Ricky looks through the gun and I look above the gun, I look a little bit higher above the gun at the 16-yard line, and then I look a little bit lower as I'm getting closer to the 27 because of the geometry of the angle of that target. I mean, for me, I feel like I can look, maybe a quarter or 2 quarters above the gun at 16 because that target's a lot closer, and you've got a lot more distance to get to it, so you can look above the gun without killing yourself. Well, if I look too high above the gun at 27-yard line, I'm looking 3, 4, 5 feet above where the target's actually leaving the house, which I don't ever want to do that. I still want to have my eyes, like if I'm on the house, I want to look at the lip where that target's leaving. I only have maybe a quarter of a quarter or a half of a quarter to look above the gun before I get out of the range of where that target is leaving the edge of the house. So, that's the only difference I'm doing is just, equalizing everything for distance. Other than that, it's pretty much the same.
I concur.
See? I just want you to know something, Ricky. When you have these really good answers, that's what I have to say sometimes. I concur, because what do you say to that? I mean,
here's what I'll say. I don't change a thing. I was just letting Zach. I thought he was going to throw in some more. I don't change anything. My eyes are the same. I look at a target the same. I don't change that consistency. I just want to be the same. So I look into the same spots. I just shoot I'm more deliberate shooting singles than handicap. You could strain a little bit harder, but I don't like to strain my eyes. I want them good. So, it just, you want to be the same. If you're changing, that's where you're getting this all combobulated. So.
Yeah. Okay. Tyler, thank you for the question. All right. Let's see. We're moving on here. What is your all-time favorite club to shoot at that's not your home club? Keep doing what you're doing. I really enjoy the show. Brad Mayberry sent in that question. Brad Mayberry.
From Sparta, Illinois.
Yeah,
right?
That's a loaded question because, there's favorite clubs to shoot for money, and then there's favorite clubs to shoot for trophies, and then there's favorite clubs to shoot for, easy targets, and then there's,
Oh, guys, sorry. I've made a huge mistake here. Brad, I apologize. Brad says, correction. I also meant to add favorite background, not necessarily favorite club. So he's giving you an out, Zach. You don't have to call out a club. He's saying favorite background or favorite club. There you go.
I mean,
my favorite background is Spanish Fort.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Really? All right.
Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, I haven't shot Spanish Fork since I was probably 18 years old.
But that's not my favorite gun club, though, by any means.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
What's
your favorite gun club?
Every gun club I go to. I mean, in all reality,
I'm a fan of all of them.
I love
too.
every gun club. I mean, now, honestly, if I want to lay out where probably my favorite club to go shoot and enjoy everything, I mean, V-Town's really hard to beat. Vernal.
Yeah, Vernal.
Yeah.
The Martins, Krieghoff, everybody done such a good job there over the years. But Sean has done a wonderful job with just everything. I mean, it's a fun time. I back my camper in. Justin pulls his in. We cook out every night. Dave Mansell's cooking out. We're having, freaking crawdad boils. We're having shrimp boils.
John's going to be up there with his RV this year.
Yeah, John's going to be up there hopefully.
It's going to be great.
You're up with Sean. Here's this, and you can get So, I mean, honestly, I love Vernal. Of course, now I did break my 4x4 there. But background-wise, it ain't the best background.
It is not the best background place to shoot, no.
But it's great. Now, the Cardinal Center. I love shooting at the Cardinal Center. The Ohio State shoot, the Cardinal Classic. I mean, I broke some massive scores out there too, and been fortunate to do that. Carmichael's Old Gun Club, Las Vegas. I won cars. I won money.
I love that place.
Yeah. I mean, it just, honestly, I tell you what, one of the funnest clubs I ever went to was Atascadero.
Mudslide 400.
Yeah, the mudslide.
I've been to Tascadero, and then we're forgetting Martinez. If you want
Yeah,
to have a fun, you want to go to a fun club, Martinez.
Listen, we can't talk about Martinez because you don't play money when you go there. You just break hundreds of hands. You just don't play the money.
And forget to play.
I played everything except the perfect 50s, but the perfect 50s did have like 15,000 in them. So I mean, it wasn't the greatest day of my life. But
I broke a 50 straight at Martinez with an 88, and it paid like $5,000. With the perfect 50, with the middle 50. Martinez is a great place. And when I talk about these places, folks, I don't just look at it as shooting targets. I look as, listen, we're there for a week.
Yeah.
We're enjoying the camaraderie of our competitors, our friends, new friends, old friends, and I want to have a good time. So that's why, like, my wife loves going to Vernal. It's one of those, she kicks back, she takes vacation, and it's just, everything's just, it's laid back,
I agree. I think this question can be asked so many different ways because you could say, okay, well, what's the best background? I think, it's hard to disagree with Spanish Fort because you're up at the elevation and you've got just a blue sky background. It's also hard to disagree with shooting at Brittany in Illinois because they've got that beautiful background there. I mean, and if I was going to Kansas is a flat background. I mean, but there's some places with some really flat, clean backgrounds where a target comes out. Huh?
Iowa State shoot.
Iowa
Gun Club. Wisconsin State shoot.
Yeah.
Cardinal Center.
Well, the Cardinal, you've got a little bit of chop there, but I mean, it's still a great shoot. But there's
Pennsylvania State shoot. You got different with the Gun Club down below, but you go to Florida. I love shooting in Florida.
If I was going to pick one shoot that I went to every year, I'd still pick the Grand. But
yeah.
if I was going to start saying, okay, well, where do I have the most fun other than the Grand? I mean, Vernal's definitely in that pick every single year. I have a great time there.
Are you going to come? Are you going to come this year?
He's got the U.S. Open.
It's hard for me. I got the U.S. Open right over. Somebody's got to represent the U.S. Open. Me and Dagan Voigtman are over here holding it down.
John, he's going to go get Dittoized and Voigtmanized.
We'll be thinking about you.
I don't have to hear Ricky talk all week on my squad. On his squad, as he would say.
We can make that happen at the Grand, too. Rich is you're going. No.
What post do you need?
Like Zach said, it's every Tucson, great place to shoot. Backgrounds the same. We go there. Florida. Every shoot I go to,
Florida is a great place to shoot, but sometimes it sucks. But like if you go break a 99 in doubles at Florida, like you're like, okay, that's cool. Like Martinez. You're not going to go there and say, wow, that's a fun place to shoot because it's so easy to shoot. Like, that's the kind of place that you're going to shoot an 88 or 89. You might be high that day, and you'll be like, holy crap, what happened? And I think that the sport needs more of that. I think, you get to the point where everybody's breaking every target, and it's like, Martinez – you break a 91 or a Tascadero, the Mudslide 400, you break a 94 and you're like a big dog. It's like, holy crap.
Tascadero, when I went there, literally you see your shot hit the hill. And I was like, man, I ain't seen this except for at Great Eastern Gun Club was in Ohio that, they didn't have that background. But Eastern Hills in Ohio, Southern Ohio did, and you seen the shot kind of hit. But a Tascadero was huge. It was like, what? And I broke 99 the first handicap there, Zach. And I was like,
I heard that story. They said, who's this Ricky Marshall? Why is he down here taking our gold? And I said, oh, don't worry. He'll be fine.
I did. I was good. I shot with Don and Donnie Curtin at that shoot.
The Curtin boys.
Yeah. Father, son. But it was a great, great time. That club, you go Martinez, we got Pennsylvania State shoot, Ohio State shoot, Iowa, Wisconsin, Brittany Park, Sparta. Sparta's probably the fairest background across the board. So it's just,
Yeah.
it's great though. I mean, so Brad, we love Sparta. You're doing an awesome job down there.
Yes, keep it up, Brad.
Yeah. We appreciate everything. I know it's hard work, but we really appreciate it.
Yeah. And for all of you who have not been to some of these great places that Ricky is mentioning, we're going to be out there at Ohio, Iowa, Wisconsin, and we're going to get some great footage and share it with everybody. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be really exciting. So, Brad, thank you again for the question.
Shoot the first one and then loop to the second one and drive through it. Oh! Just like that.
Great shot. Shot 2. Great shot.
We're just trying to help every shooter out there, no matter if you're an expert or a beginner, and this product will take your game to the next level.
Works for any of the disciplines. As long as it can find a clay in the image, it will figure out how it's moving and how that shot pattern is going to.
Yeah. Now in that shot, I intentionally shot high, which is most people do.
That's what you did.
Yep. So outside the pattern. Now what's it say for the correction of that?
1 foot.
Yep, that'd be correct. Now in this one, I will smoke the target.
If people want to purchase this unit, what's the best way to do it? I mean, is it through your guys' website? Is there a phone number to call, or what's that situation?
Yeah, go to our website, takeintech.com, and an online store. We have inventory. We'll ship usually within 24 hours.
Huge thank you to Jim and Bob at Take Aim Tech for supporting Trap Talk.
All right, guys, coming in from Doug Weber. Doug says, hey, guys, I love the podcast. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
I have a Krieghoff KX6 Special with a factory release. I love the gun. KX6 took me from the 24-yard line to the 26-yard line. I'm using a light full choke. I hit hard, but I wonder if I should open it up a little bit. What are you saying about that at the back fence? That's from Doug.
Open it up. I mean, why not?
I can tell you where
tighten it
this
up?
is going to go, Doug.
Go the other way. Go with the R-Grill Special and that SF all day, baby.
Ricky, what is Zach saying right now? Zach's talking about tightening up chokes. Is that what Zach's saying right now? I can't believe it.
That's a first. That's old Sweet Choke Nanini.
They give me a hard time because I might not break them as hard as old Richard Marshall Jr. But I've never taken that full choke out of my gun.
Or Justin Debris. Heck, Wyatt's even spanking you.
Hey, Wyatt is an excellent shooter, and what I'll say to Justin is he hits them hard, but I hit more of them.
Oh,
well, listen,
shots fired.
You're going to poke that bear, and I think that bear's going to unleash on you at the Spring Grand.
I want to keep poking him. This is a shout-out. I'm calling him out. I want to see what he's got this year. He's got to make that All-American team. I think he can do it.
Oh,
Wait. You need to. Who you giving a shout-out to?
Justin Debris.
I think that was going right to Justin Debris. Yeah.
Hey, what are you doing? You're calling him out to make.
I said he's got the talent. He's got to make the All-American team this year. Let's see it.
So is this a call out for the Spring Grand too? You were saying you hit more targets than he does.
Well, I mean, we got to see what the bet's going to be. I mean, I need a little room. I haven't been rusty, but we'll figure it out.
Make sure we're recording. Here comes another Zach Nannini bet. Let's make sure we're recording.
Don't worry, I got it on recording.
The bets are flying.
I'm going to send this
Zach,
up.
I think you're lucky. I think this might come out after the Spring Grand, so you won't have Justin too upset. The shoot will be over. You're safe.
No. John, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Justin, he might find it, but remember, we also got that bet of the $1 million.
Pulling the trigger twice for $1 million. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. Listen, we'll see if Justin receives it. I don't know. Check.
Okay, so I've got
text messages, boys.
Okay, I've got some gossip coming in here related to Ricky Marshall. There's the word on the street about Ricky. Here we go. Jesse's sending in a question. Is Richard a one-eye shooter or a two-eyed shooter? A fellow shooter thinks he is a one-eyed shooter because he dips his gun before he moves to the second shot in doubles versus going straight across. Where is his hold point shooting doubles? Where does he recommend a one-eyed shooter hold his gun for shooting doubles, handicap, and singles? So Ricky, the word on the street is you're secretly a one-eyed shooter.
You've been tricking us this whole time, Rick.
You've been saying this whole
dipping us
time
like that. Oh,
the dip is actually a one-eyed shooter move, not a two-eyed shooter move. And Jesse and his buddy have figured it out.
and actually, he holds a butt.
Does it say?
What's that? Sorry.
It doesn't say where Jesse's from, does it?
Jesse didn't have the courage to tell us where him and his buddy are from with this hot goss that he's bringing to the
I can tell
podcast.
you that he's going to answer his own question, but I can tell you, I looked over at that guy many a times, and he's got two big old eyeballs, and they're like this when a target comes out. He's looking for that thing like I look for sandwiches. I mean, there's no doubt.
So I am definitely a two-eyed shooter. Now, I started as a one-eyed shooter, and for about 3 or 4 months, and then I took a Frank Hoppy class, and Frank's like, well, you don't drive down the road with one eye, do you? And I said, I don't drive. You know, I'm only 30.
Too young.
But I will say that I shoot two eyes. I'm on the house because I can see everything. Now, that comes from shooting years ago in Missouri. Back in the old days of shooting the fall handicap, there was a lot of money, and they didn't throw a target with face. You know, they were flat. Shoom. So I just on the house, and I can see it. The dip is not a one-eyed shooter dip. That's so
they thought they got you.
Yeah. Because even if you see with your left eye and you come across, as soon as the barrel gets there, you're going to stop and pull the trigger. So if you dip, you come up through the target, okay? So your whole points for doubles, you want to hold on to your first target, your straightaway, in line with it and drive up through it, okay? Now
he's saying here, Rick. He's saying as a one-eyed shooter, you know, because obviously that's who you are. You're a one-eyed shooter. Where's your hold points as a one-eyed shooter? But I think down on the house is good for both, right? One eye. Yep. Yeah. Okay. All right. So Jesse, unfortunately, your buddy is wrong. Zach confirms Ricky is definitely a two-eyed shooter.
I wish he'd closed that eye. Maybe he'd miss some more damn targets. But
yeah,
I mean,
maybe we can get him to.
Open.
Maybe we can get him to close an eye there, and we'll have a shot at the Spring Grand. We don't know. We'll see.
I'm coming in. I'm gonna get an eyeball right there for Zach.
Three eyes, not even just two-eyed shooter. Three-eyed shooter. Okay, guys, this is for both of you. This is coming in from Brian Weeks. Brian is asking, can you elaborate more on why you two, both All-Americans, shoot 30-inch barrels for doubles? It seems that the general consensus in the trap shooting world is that you're supposed to shoot a 34-32 combo for trap. Why 30-inch barrels for doubles? Here we go. We can now break this case.
I will say this. So when I started shooting, I shot a 30-inch barrel, okay, when I started. Now, when I got with Krieghoff, I actually have the first set of 30-inch trap special barrels that they made, and I shot a 16.5-inch length of pole back then. With my barrels, they were about the same height as a 32, but now I've shortened down to a 16-inch. I like the shorter barrel in doubles. You move a little bit quicker and ease smoother for me to that second shot. Okay. I'm a big guy, you know, I'm 6'2", 350, and I can move a 32, but I like that shorter move of that 30, and, you know, and I've broke a few hundreds in doubles with it, and
hundreds and hundreds of them.
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
Over 200, but
yeah, that's a lot.
You know, it's
couple.
I think that people overlook that and they go back, well, you should have this. You know, I just talked to a customer that, you know, he had tried a 32, couldn't hit it, didn't like it, got fortunate to get rid of it. And he's like, it has to be a 30. I just, you know, and so a lot of it's preference, but try a 30-inch. You'd be surprised. They move. And I've even talked to a student of mine, a client, that he was like, I was thinking about seeing if Krieghoff had a 28-inch. And he said, well, I'm older now and I want to move the gun, not as much. And yet you shorter barrel, less movement over, but I don't recommend that. 30-inch, You trust me, you'll love it.
It's a sweet
Hey,
spot.
Rick-
I think
Yeah.
for me, for Rick, there's a lot of guys shooting the 30s. Now, there are some people shooting 32s with success, but it just
Yep.
matters how you move the gun. If you want something a little slower and you want to have a little bit more patience in between, okay, a little bit longer barrel. You want to get there a little quicker, okay, 30-inch. What I like about a 30 in doubles is if that target, that second target, jumps or dips or does any kind of stuff, I feel like I have a little bit more responsiveness with that 30 than I do with the 32. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you shoot anything long enough, you could learn it. So, I mean, it comes down
Guys,
to
are
preference.
these are these 30-inch barrels with extended chokes?
Yeah. Well, 30 and then
they're titanium though, right? I mean, they're not really. You don't really see that or feel that on the end of it. I mean, if they were flush,
guess-
it wouldn't make any difference.
and I use a titanium hanger too. It lightens up the end a little bit more too.
Yeah. So I think
Maybe that's why you're so much better than me. I don't have the titanium hanger. Oh,
You
order it.
I just
Order it.
figured the game out, folks.
go. If you need
Hey, but the
titanium
question-
hangers, give me a call.
Thank you.
The-
Thank you
yeah.
for that one.
Yeah. The secret's out. Titanium hangers. That's what it is.
That's what I
I was just thinking it's not so much about the length of the barrel. This is more of a weight and movement
It's a weight
question because
distribution thing.
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, not length of barrels, more of those 2 inches. That's less weight. That's more movement. You're getting over to those birds quicker. Hey, that was a great question. We appreciate that question coming in. And we're going to do one more here.
can't
And then
do
the
one more. I gotta go.
extravaganza. We're not going to do any more. This is it. We appreciate everybody sending your questions in. If we didn't get to your question, we're going to keep doing videos. We're going to keep answering them.
Right.
And we really appreciate everyone who is watching the show, sending in your questions. As always, if you have questions, send them to askus@traptalkpodcast.com, and we'll get these two guys to answer them for you. Thanks, everybody.
He's got to go
Thank
try
you.
to make money with some customers. Thanks, folks.
Zach, thank you very much. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. And the Trap Talk podcast is brought to you in part by
RM Shooting Clinics. Have Ricky take your game to the next level. If you want to shoot hundreds, give Ricky a call today. Zach Nannini Financial. We believe in putting people first.